All right. What's good, y'all? It's Myles here. It's been a while, been a couple years, but we're back. Back with a special guest here. I'm letting her introduce herself. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
Hi everyone. I'm KK Bransford. I go to Notre Dame. I'm originally from Cincinnati, Ohio, and I'm going into my senior year.
Okay. So being from Cincinnati, like, of course, you have a bunch of like great basketball players. You got LeBron, Steph.
Yep.
So like, what was like your main like influence to start playing basketball, especially at a high level?
Yeah, so originally, I have an older brother and he played basketball, so that's kind of where it stemmed from originally. I always wanted to be outside with the boys, be outside with him, his friends, things like that. And then like kind of as I grew up, as you said, LeBron's from there, Steph Curry's from Ohio. But I think for me, most importantly, Kelsey Mitchell, her being from Cincinnati, like exactly from Cincinnati, and how good she was growing up. I was able to go to all her like AAU games. She played for all Ohio. So then continuing on to watch her play at Ohio State and be the leading scorer in the NCAA, like at that time, like that was pretty crazy for me, especially her being from Cincinnati itself. So I would probably say Kelsey Mitchell.
So yeah, you went to Mount Notre Dame High School. You was the class of 2022, being ranked in the top 30 overall in rankings. Being a four-star recruit. So what was that like? What was that like mindset trying to build that legacy coming out of Cincinnati, being a top-rated recruit coming out of one of a pretty prestigious high school in Cincinnati?
Yeah, I mean Cincinnati. I always brag about Cincinnati and their hoopers and all the hoopers that come out of Cincinnati. In my class alone, we had three McDonald's All Americans: Chance Gray, me, and Kyla Oldacre. So in my class alone, it was always been competitive. I think that the girls before us, we've had many great players, many great McDonald's All Americans, especially on the women's side. So and then going to Mount Notre Dame, even the legacy there, they were always really competitive. When I got to Mount Notre Dame, we ended up being really, really competitive. I won well, no, two out of my four states. The COVID year, we were going to the Final Four. So, so I'm being confident, and hope we would have won that year as well. So, but we're a really competitive team. I lost only two games in my whole entire high school career, which was my very first one and my very last one.
That's
so
actually.
yeah, it was really bittersweet. But so I had a really successful high school career, and I think it was just special about the people who paved the way that I knew coming out of Cincinnati. So I kind of just wanted to mirror that, and that was kind of my influence.
So yeah, you played with two great players. One with Layla, with her being a grade above you, and even your sister Kylie, with you being a senior and her being a freshman. What was that like playing pretty much with your best friend and
Yeah.
Layla and your sister and Kylie?
No, yeah. I mean, Kylie, playing with her was amazing for 1 year. And then it was kind of like passing the baton to her because she ended up having her own successful career at Mount Notre Dame herself. So just being able to play that first year with her and kind of introduce her to things. And I would say that's probably where we've gotten the closest. Like we were always close growing up, but I think playing high school together, going to school every day, playing on the same basketball team, like we just grew so much closer. Like that's like my little child. Now I always say that's my baby. Like I pushed her out. but no, like I loved playing with her. And then Layla, of course, I had played with Layla since fourth grade. So she was my best friend. I played high school and AAU with her. So I was always around Layla. The thing about Layla that I loved playing with her was that was my pusher. That was my person that kept me accountable. She's the type of person, she's waking up at 5 a.m. to work out. Me personally, I'm not a 5 a.m. person, but um she made me and showed me the way, and especially her being older. I kind of looked up to her in a way, and we kind of just pushed each other, and I just enjoyed playing with Layla so much, especially we had that friendship off the court, but then being able to push each other, hold each other accountable. I've always had a workout buddy. Layla would never say no to working out. I would never say no to working out. So she was like my partner in crime. But yeah, so it was great playing with those two. Even just the whole time being there. Makira Cook went to Dayton and then ended up going to Illinois. Gabby Marshall went and played at Iowa when Iowa went to the Final Four, and then Julia Heffling. Like our whole starting five went D1. So I just think that I have really great, especially my first year, really great seniors and older people that kind of paved the way to how I wanted to do for my sister and the in her class when I was a senior.
So, uh, starting to get out of high school, you know, you only lost 2 games. You won upwards of close to 100 games, and you pretty much scored over 2,100 points throughout your 4 years of being on varsity. And on top of that, I mean, you kind of built up a lot of accolades over your 4 years, with it you being winning Miss Basketball back to back in your junior senior year. How did it feel to build so much accolades over your 4 years on top of scoring over 2,000 points? So, like, how did that feel?
I mean, it felt great. It felt like my hard work was paying off. I worked so hard growing up. Like I said, I've always played with boys. I always was like shy of like, oh, I gotta go play with these boys. But going out of my high school year and reflecting back, like I think it really paid off, and it was special to be able to share that like with my family and with my friends, all the people that was with me throughout my journey. I think that was the best part of it. I remember when I got Miss Basketball the second time, and they like presented it, like I cried. And like I have never, like I cry all the time, but I cry on like dumb stuff like movies and stuff like that, but like I have never cried at, like happy tears. And that was my first time really having like really happy tears. Like the emotion was just so overwhelming, having all my family, all my friends, coaches there. Like I think that's the most rewarding thing, is knowing like all the things, all the mornings that had to wake up, all the times where I had to have two-a-days and different things like that. And like it kind of finally paying off. I think that was special. And just to be able to do it with the people around me, I think that made it even more special.
Coming out of high school in the class of 2022, you graduated with a couple with some high profile people, like Lauren Betts, number one overall, who eventually went to Stanford, and another big name, and Flau'jae Johnson, pretty much 22 overall with LSU, of course. And eventually you went on to go to Notre Dame, where you're currently at, going into your 4th year this upcoming fall, which is crazy. Time flew.
Crazy.
I never would have thought watching you grow up. But what made you choose Notre Dame out of your offers like UCLA, Arizona, and other prestigious schools?
Yeah, I mean, coming out of high school, the college decision was definitely tough. You named a couple of people, and that were coming out of high school. So knowing that they're making their decision too. I know someone who during my college decision, KK Rice, I think she was number 2 or number 3 overall. We really wanted to go to school together. It didn't end up happening, but that was thinking about the people that were there, the players that were on the team, the players that would be committing to the schools. I think that was a big thing. But ultimately, with Notre Dame, I just think the people, the coaches, Coach Ivy's an amazing woman, an amazing coach. She has so much experience with being a player, coaching in the NBA. Like she's done it all. So she's won championships as a player and an assistant coach. And we're hoping to get her one as a head coach as well. But just her was the biggest influence, I think. It was a benefit that it was closer to home. So my family is able to come to a lot of games. My grandparents are able to come to a lot of games. My uncles, like all of my family was relatively close. So that was a big thing. Playing in the ACC, ACC is one of the top conferences out there, and especially at the time you had Louisville, you had Virginia Tech, a lot of good competitors. So like those are my two things. I wanted to be in a place where it's competitive. I wanted to be in a place where academically it would benefit me. I think with the Notre Dame degree, that kind of speaks for itself. That was really important to me as well, to set me up not just for basketball, but for outside of that in the future after basketball. And then most importantly, I would say, is the people, the coaching staff, all the way down to the professors. Like everyone there at Notre Dame has a really great personality, and it kind of fit me with my teammates and all those things. I made some of my very best friends at Notre Dame. So, that was kind of where I was going with my decision.
So yeah, going into your freshman year, you played all 33 games and started in 12 games. And you had a pretty productive freshman year, pretty much averaging over 8 points a game with about 3 rebounds and 2 assists. So what was that like mentality coming into your first year? Did you feel like you had something to prove, or were you trying to earn that spot, or what was that mindset coming in?
Yeah, I mean, we had a great team at Notre Dame. I think that going into my freshman year, I kind of definitely went in slowly and just kind of trying to be a sponge and learn from the older people that has been there, has experience. Olivia Myles probably was a big person that helped me throughout my freshman year. We were really close off the court, but she was a good mentor to me on the court. She went down that year, so I had to step up. And Sonia as well was a good mentor, because I know me and her had to step up at the guard position, playing the point guard. Dara Mabry went down. Dara and Lauren Eba were our two seniors that year, and they were amazing. They taught me how to be a leader. They taught me what it was to be at that at that head spot. So just, I think from top to bottom, everybody kind of helped me. I was the only freshman that year coming in, so I was the youngest. I was the baby. And I think that I kind of, tried to acclimate myself slowly. And I had a pretty good year. I think that after it went down, I had to really step up after Dara going down in the beginning of the season. And Coach Ivy kind of trusted me, and I played my role, I think, a lot my freshman year, and I was satisfied with that. And going into my sophomore year, it made me excited. So.
So yeah, going into your sophomore year, you pretty much had the same stats that next year. Even though what most people, if they did or did not know, you were playing with an injury,
Yeah.
pretty much all the college so far. But you still stepped up to the plate into your sophomore year. Even though y'all brought in a couple of faces like Hannah Hidalgo as a freshman, what was it like to play with folks like Hannah Hidalgo, Sonia Cintron, and other big faces like that? What was that like to play with names like that?
Yeah, my sophomore year, I mean, I started off the year not playing because I had surgery before the season. I didn't have an off season. I was out the entire like summer. And I just kind of went straight into my sophomore season without a whole lot of preparation. I think that, like I said, I was excited after my freshman year. I had a pretty solid freshman year, and to just kind of build on that and grow. And that kind of didn't happen. And, I think that one would look at it as a downside, but for me, I feel like it was a blessing in disguise, because now that I am healthy, I feel like going through that sophomore year and then being able to play with people like Hannah. Hannah is one of, obviously, the greatest, but one of the greatest players in women's college basketball right now. And her like fight and her fire, I think, added to our team so much. And she's so contagious when she got stepped on the floor with us from summer, just me watching her all summer, and then playing with her. I'm a very gritty player, and I like that. I like that tough, fast paced kind of thing. So Hannah was right up my alley, being able to play with her. Sonia Citron, she's always so consistent. So I know, with not having lived that whole entire year, I think that Stoney really stepped up, and Maddie Westbelt too really stepped up that year to kind of lead us. And I think that, we won the ACC championship. That was one of my biggest highlights my sophomore year, and then going to the Sweet 16. And I just think that for me, that was definitely a rough year because I got hurt again at the end of the season, having to have surgery at the end of the season, which put me out my junior year. But I think that throughout that year, I learned so much. I learned so much about my body. I learned so much about a lot of off the court stuff that I think is helping me now. So
So, so yeah, getting to watch y'all play in person up in Notre Dame. Like you said, y'all play a real fast tempo, fast game, which has won y'all a lot of games, which has gotten y'all to like Sweet 16, won y'all an ACC championship. What's that talk with Coach Ivy in the locker room, whether if it's in the locker room or a timeout or a pregame? What's that talk with Coach Ivy about the mentality coming into every game, playing big teams, week in and week out?
yeah, I mean, I think Coach Ivy does a really good job of making sure we're staying grounded and not playing to the competition, whether it's the best team or maybe the last place team in the conference. Any of that shouldn't matter. And I think Coach Ivy is big on that and preaches that. That's something that I felt like that we've struggled with in the past, but I think even like this year, and my sophomore year, we were doing better of just being able to remind ourselves, and as players, being it doesn't have to come from Coach Ivy of like, okay, we have to make sure we're stepping up, and when we step on the floor, having that kind of swagger. And I think that's a big thing that she like preaches and teaches, is having that mentality, and that the other team should feel us, feel how talented we are, because we have been a talented team all 3 of my years that I've been here. So they should kind of feel that. And I think at halftime, let's say we're not performing to that level, we're definitely being told about ourselves. And I think that's a great thing that I feel like, as much as she's repeated that, it's kind of a standard in us as players that she doesn't even have to say that anymore. So obviously she's there to be a coach and to be a reminder, but she does such a great job of preparing her players that she doesn't have to motivate us. We are very self-motivated, very self-driven. So but it started from her and the standard that she set. And it starts in the summer, it starts in the off season, all that stuff. So during the season should be easy. The off season should be hard. And that's kind of what she preaches.
So yeah, of course, coming into current events, which you redshirting, and y'all played a big team in Texas, although y'all came and beat them. Of course, that's my team.
Yes.
But we still need that rematch. Hopefully, we
Mm-hmm.
don't know, but I mean, y'all played some good names. Even though you got to play against your old teammate Layla, even though you didn't get to play. What was that kind of like talk with Coach coming into playing a big team at home in Texas, led by an amazing coach and an amazing by two guards? What was that talk?
I mean, Texas is a great team. Previously, I want to say, I don't know if the UConn game was before or after, but we had a really, really tough stretch where we played USC, then we went to Cayman Islands, had 2 tough games with TCU and Utah, and then we came home, had to play UConn, Syracuse, and Texas. So the that whole kind of time during that stretch of games, it was kind of the same speech of just like, you know how good these teams are, especially Texas. You know, you have a legendary coach. You have a team that is specialized in defense. So we have to specialize in our defense as well and perform on the offensive end. So that was kind of our game plan with that. We know that Texas is a great team with Madison Booker. She's an amazing player. So just being able, I felt like we were really locked into the scout. Our assistant coaches do a really good job of preparing us. And so it's kind of up to us to just go out there and perform. But we know, we should know and usually know every player top to bottom, what their tendencies are, those things like that. So with those big games, I think that is the most important thing, because you're going to have 2 talented teams, and it's going to come down to the little things. It's going to come down to, do you know the scout? It's going to come down to that kind of heart thing. So I think knowing the scout, knowing the details of things, and then also just having that mentality, having that heart of wanting to win, especially with the great home crowd that Notre Dame always brings. The energy is always amazing. So just stepping up to those big lights and performing.
So yeah, pretty much going into, I mean, your last 2 years, you gained a year eligibility with your red shirt. What do you see yourself pretty much like planning with your last 2 years? How do you see yourself in the team within the next 2 years? Do you maybe see another two AC titles. You maybe see a natty. Of course, everybody wants to win that natty. So, like,
Yeah.
what's the plans as a team within the next 2 years?
I mean, as a team, we definitely this year we're we're only have three returning players. So from last year, and I think including myself, the three of us are very excited for this year, are very just, I don't know, I just feel like the excitement's there, the leadership. We've been through a lot. Me and Cass came in halfway through my freshman year, and then Hannah was the year after that. So I think we were always the youngest, and now we're kind of the oldest, and we're the leaders. And just, like you said, we're trying to win a natty. We're definitely trying to win ACC outright. Every single year that I've been there, we've either won the regular season or won the tournament. So just trying to keep that going and trying to keep us competitive, because we are Notre Dame. And when we wear that name across our chests, it is really important that we have to perform. So those things are kind of a given. And I just think that me, Hannah, and Cass, and then the people that we have coming in, we're all really excited. We're all ready to work. And I think that's the biggest thing, is our work ethic is going to have to be really, really, really high this year. And I think that we are capable of doing that. And I think we're all really ready for that.
Okay. Well, shoot, I appreciate you for coming out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Taking 20 minutes of your time during your break. I know you spending time with your family, with your mom,
I know.
sister, and brother. So yeah, I appreciate you for coming out.
Thank you so much, Myles. I appreciate you for having me on and taking your time as well.
For sure. Yeah, I appreciate it.
All righty. Thank you.
Mhm.